Hello friends, welcome to all of you in Dr. Zaki Academy, and today we will discuss about the nature of matter. So first of all, in this lecture we will discuss what is a matter and how do we classify it. The first one is what is chemistry. The chemistry is a science which deal with the study of matter, including composition. Second one is the properties. It means what are the physical properties and what are the chemical properties. And third one, its behavior. So in this lecture we will discuss about the matter. So let's start. What is a matter? Anything which has a mass and occupies space is known as a matter. So next we will discuss about the classification of the matter. The first of all, I will start the physical classification of matter. Physical classification means it's depend upon the physical appearance and physical state of the matter. So depending upon the physical state or physical appearance, the matter is divided into three types. Number one is a solid. Second one is liquid and third one is gas. So which state of matter is known as a solid state, which has there are some definite properties such as which have fixed shape, fixed volume and fixed mass. For example, that is a chair, table, pen and chalk, and all these matter, they are present in solid state. The second one state of the matter is known as a liquid. So which matter is known as that is present in a liquid state, which have two things. Number one is which has a fixed volume but they don't have a fixed shape. So now question arises, what is the shape of the liquid? It takes the shape of container in which liquid is placed. For instance, if we have for example, the 3 liter of milk, if we put in 3 liter of milk in a bowl container, then its shapes of the milk is a bowl shape. And if we place that milk in a cylindrical vessel, then it takes the shape of cylinder. So for example, milk, oil, petrol and water. The next one is a gas state, which they don't have any definite volume and no definite shape. So what's the shape and volume of the gas? That it takes the shape and volume of the container in which it is placed. So the best example of the gas is air. The next one is the chemical classification of matter, which is based on a chemical composition of the matter. So depending upon the chemical classification, the matter is divided into two main types. Number one is pure substances and second one is mixtures. The pure substances, they are again subdivided into two parts. Number one is element and second one is compound. On the other hand, the mixture is divided into two types. Number one is homogeneous and second one is heterogeneous. So later on we will discuss all the four things related to the matter. Number one is element, second is compound, third is homogeneous and fourth one is a heterogeneous mixture. So let's start. What is the element? Elements are the pure substances and which is made up of only one types of atoms. It can't be broken down through the chemical reactions. For example, iron, silver, copper, helium, hydrogen, lithium and sodium. These all are our elements and they are made up of the same types of atom. For instance, if we talk about the iron element, it contains only iron atoms. In case of silver, contains only silver atoms. And these elements, they can't be broken down into a smaller particle through physical or chemical reactions. Depending on we have a lot of elements So elements are basically, there are three types. Number one is metal, second elements are non-metal, and third one is metallites. So what are the metals, what are the non-metals, and what are the metallites? The metals are those elements which are present on the left side of the periodic table. They are shiny in nature, they are good conductor of heat and electricity. Another property is the metals are malleable nature, which means they are converted into sheets. The next one is they are ductile in nature, means they are drawn into the wires. Those elements which show all these properties, means shiny, good conductor of heat, malleable and ductile, those elements, they are categorized into metals. Second one is the non-metals. If I talk about the non-metals, they are generally positions on the right side of the periodic table. So if I talk about its properties, they are non-shiny in nature, they are a poor conductor of heat and electricity, they are non-malleable nature, and they are non-ductile. And the best example of the non-metals are fluorine, bromine and oxygen. The last one is some elements are metalloid in nature, and they are present in between metals and non-metals. As the metalloids are present in between the metal and non-metal, it means their properties are in between their metals and non-metal. And the best example is bromine, silicon, germanium and arsenic. So these are the types of elements: metal, non-metals and metalloid. Next I will show you the periodic table. So here we have a periodic table in which the different elements are arranged according to their properties in a group and period. So the elements which are present on the left side of this one is periodic table, these are all metals. As the elements present on the right side of the periodic table, they are metals. And in between metals and non-metal, here we have that is a metalloid. So metalloid, they form a staircase that represent the gradual transition from metal to non-metal. So this is a metalloid elements whose properties are in between metals and non-metals. The next one is the compounds. The compounds are also pure substances, but they are made up of more than one kind of atoms. The atoms, they are combined in a fixed ratio by mass, or we can say that fixed composition. For instance, we have a carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a compound because it is formed by the combination of one atom of carbon and two atoms of the oxygen. Whenever we talk about the carbon dioxide is always formed from the two elements, and these two elements are always combined in a fixed ratio. The other example of the compound are HCl, hydrochloric acid, water and sodium nitrite. The properties of the compound, they are different from the element from which they are formed. Here I am taking the example of water. The water is formed from hydrogen and oxygen. So in this case, hydrogen and oxygens, they are elements. And after the combination of elements, we form the compound, which is a water. So it is a compound because hydrogen and oxygen are always combined in a fixed ratio. So let's talk about the properties of the compound. The properties of water, they are totally different from hydrogen and oxygen. How we explain that? So in this case, hydrogen is explosive in nature and it is a highly reactive gas. If I talk about the oxygen, that is also support the combustion, or it is also present in a gas. But when these two gases, that is hydrogen and oxygen, they are combined to form water, and the water, these two are used in a combustion, means they are explosive in nature, they support the combustion. But after the combination of these two elements, we form the water, and which is a less reactive, they are present in liquid state, and water is generally used for extinguishing fire. It means the properties of water, which is used, the main property of the water is extinguishing fire, but it is a form from hydrogen and oxygen whose properties are totally different from the water. So this one is the properties of the compound. It's clear that the properties of compound are totally different from hydrogen and oxygen. The next one is a compound. The compounds are again divided into two parts. One is the ionic compound and is a covalent compound. So what are the ionic compounds? Ionic compounds are those compounds which consist of metal and non-metal. Means when metal combined with the non-metal, those compounds are known as ionic compound. And how they are formed? They are formed by the loss or gain of electron. And the common example of ionic compound are sodium chloride, calcium fluoride, hydrochloric acid, HCl. So in this case, sodium is a metal, whereas the chlorine is non-metal. In this case, calcium is a metal and fluorine is non-metal. So these are the example of ionic compound. On the other hand, so we have a covalent compound. As the name indicates, the covalent means that is formed by the sharing of electron. And the sharing of electron take place between the two non-metals. So covalent compounds, they consist of only non-metal. And mainly we have a carbon and hydrogen. The next part is how they are formed. Naturally, they are formed by the sharing of electron. And the common example of the covalent compounds are water, methane, that is hexane, and this is a sucrose. And these are all examples of covalent compounds. The next we will discuss the mixtures. How it is different from the compound. So mixture is also formed by made up of a more than one kind of atoms or compound. But in with the atoms or compound, they are not combined in a fixed ratio. Whereas if I talk about the compound elements or atoms, they are combined in a fixed ratio, and that is the main difference between the compound and mixture. Another difference is the physical properties of the mixture. They are similar to its consequent elements or compound. But on the other hand, if we talk about the compound, the physical properties of the compound, they are totally different from its consequent elements. The example of the mixture are the lemon juice, which is formed by the combination of water, lemon, sugar. And all these are compound. Water is compound, citric acid is compound, and sugar, sucrose is compound. And when you make the lemon juice, you will take all these three components in any ratio. So it depends upon your need. So this is a mixture. So next, the mixture are again they are divided into two parts. One is a homogeneous mixture and second one is a heterogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture means, which is also known as solutions. And in this case, two or more substances, they are mixed uniformly. Example, so we have a combination, we have a mixture of two things. One is alcohol and second is water. When we mix the alcohol and water, So both are mixed uniformly. It is very hard for you to distinguish between where is the alcohol and where is the water. Another example of the homogeneous mixtures are, one is air. So air is, what is air? Air is a homogeneous mixture of the different gases. It may be carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, oxygen, H2S and so on. Next one example is alloys. Alloys are again homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or non-metals. The next is a component of solution, because homogeneous mixture are known as a solution and it is formed by the combination of two things. So what are the component of the solutions? The one is, that is solute, and second one is solvent. So which component is known as a solute? Which is present in small amount. And which component is a solvent? Which is present in large amount. For example, if I talk about the salt solution, which is formed by the combination of salt and water. So in this case of, salt is added into the water. So in this case, salt is present in small amount, so it acts as a solute, whereas water is present in a large amount, that is a solvent. And after the combination of both solute and solvent, we form the salt solution, which is a homogeneous mixture of both the things, salt and water. So next is, depending upon the nature of solvent. What's the nature of solvent? What type of solvent you are using while making the homogeneous mixture? Depending upon the solvent, we have two type of solution. One is aqueous solution, second is non-aqueous solution. So what is aqueous? Aqueous means water. If we use water as a solvent while making solution, that solution is known as an aqueous solution. The examples are, on the other hand, non-aqueous means if we use a solvent other than the water, such as maybe alcohol, ether, benzene and toluene. The example of the aqueous solution is, as we discussed earlier, that is a salt solution. So in this case we use a salt. The salt is added to the water. So here is a water is act as a solvent. So that is why this solution, the salt solution, is known as aqueous solution. The example of non-aqueous solution is iodine and alcohol. When the iodine is added to alcohol, then we get iodine solution. So this iodine solution is non-aqueous, because in this case of water is not used as a solvent. In this case, alcohol is used as a solvent. So depending upon the nature, the solution are also divided into two types. The next one is a heterogeneous mixture. Just opposite to the homogeneous. In homogeneous, both the component, maybe two or more component, they are mixed uniformly, and it is very hard for you to distinguish which component is there, which component is there. They are mixed uniformly throughout the mixture. But in heterogeneous, two or more substances, they are not mixed uniformly, and it is a very easy for you to see the different phases of the substance with the naked eye. The best example of the heterogeneous mixture is oil and water. So in this case, here is the oil. When the oil is mixed with water, the oil is present on the top of the surface, whereas water is remaining behind. So this is a water. So in this case, when the oil is mixed with water, so you can see the two phases. Here is the oil, here is the water. And these two components, they can be separated by physical method. So again, the classification of the heterogeneous mixture. Depending upon the size of particle of the component, the heterogeneous mixture are divided into three types. Number one is colloid, second is suspension, and third is mechanical mixtures. So what are the colloids? The colloids is in which the particle size is very, very small, but they are larger than the solution particles. On the other hand, in suspension, the particle size is intermediate between mechanical and colloid. If the particle size is very large, so that heterogeneous mixture is known as mechanical mixture. So depending upon the size of particles, we get the three different type of heterogeneous mixture, and they show the different properties. One is, due to small size, the particle don't settle down with the time in case of colloid. If I talk about the suspension, due to a larger size, the particle they are settled down with the time, whereas mechanical, the particle they are remain separated. The next one is, because the particles are very small, so we can't separate by the normal filtration. But in this case, the separation of particle is possible by normal filtration, because the particles are very large, comparative large size as compared to the colloid. In case of mechanical, they again particle, they don't mix and they remain separated. Next one is, as the particles are very small, so it appears as a homogeneous, means all the components are uniformly mixed. But actually it is a heterogeneous. Whereas suspension is remain heterogeneous in nature. Heterogeneous means in which the two or more components they remain separated, and you can see the different phases with the naked eye. Whereas mechanical, they can be separated by the mechanical methods. The example of the colloids are milk, fog, foam and honey, and the example of suspensions are chalk with water and muddy water. And the mechanical mixture example is chocolate chips in cookies. So here we have example of heterogeneous mixture depending upon their size of particles. One is milk, second one is chalk with water, and third one is chocolate chips with cookies. So in this case, the fat particles, oil particles, they are very small, so they remain suspended. They don't settle down at the bottom. But in case of chalk, the particle of chalk are larger than the water particle, so they are heavier. So that is why after some time, when we mix the chalk with water, after some time, the chalk particle they get settled at the bottom. So in this case, this is a mechanical mixture in which the chocolate cookies they remain separated. So these are the example of heterogeneous mixture. So a special thank to the director of Gobind Server School, that's the Jaspreet Singh Ji Patia, and the principal of Gobind Server School, Surrey, that Dr. Rishi. And this is my topic, and I hope that you will definitely enjoy. Thank you.